Hey guys, I'm just writing some stuff up here on the board, really to help me remember it, so I'll be right back with you. Hey everybody, it is me, Teacher Sam, here to do a little bit of coaching today. If you have a question or something that you would like for me to cover, please feel free to leave it in a message on the side. I'm going to share the link into a few groups and see if we can get a few more people in here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, how are you? Hello, Eve. Hello, Gary. How are you? Give me 2 seconds, guys. Gary, are you doing any free talk right now? I've seen you being active on the app, so I just didn't know if you had kind of jumped over into any of that yet or no. Understand. I'm going to show you guys before the end of the video my temporary classroom. We have, let's see, a heating issue where I normally work, and so I'm having to kind of make do with a short-term situation until I can get that resolved. So I'll show you. You guys just have to ignore my house because we have like a million things going on. But I actually just put this right here on the back of this door. And of course, Eva. Is it Eva or Eva? EVA or EVE? It's perfectly fine to talk, to learn from me. The stuff that I'm going to teach tonight really has to go, okay, Eve, can go across any platform. So, Gary, what I was saying was I just did something very small, very quick to get a temporary classroom set up for me, and it's worked really well. It's a little different because I'm actually sitting on the floor. But I like the fact that I'm not using my laptop, so I can just prop my phone up on a chair and teach there, and it's worked out for me so far. Eve, what company are you with? Hey, Gary, I'll tell you this. If you have any way to go ahead and get your classroom set up, even if you don't have a background right now, so that you can interview and be approved before Christmas, because most teachers are taking that day off and you get double points if you teach on Christmas Day. So oh yeah, Gary, when I didn't even have a background up. I just taught against a wall. And it worked because it's just your interview, and and you can tell them I'll have this set up by whatever. It is. It's for the hot slots on the 25th. Gary, I think it's kind of a mix of both, because you're going to have some adults, a lot that I've experienced were adults who were on their way home from work. Maybe they were commuting and they want to brush up on their business skills, or they'll pick a topic to talk about. I've actually enjoyed the few that I've done. My schedule is mostly full of children as far as doing the official kids course. I like that the free talk is there. So if I wake up and I have like 2 or 3 previous cancellations through the night, I can open up for the option of free talk. I just don't really get that often because my schedule stays pretty full. But Gretchen, you are right. It is for the 4 main time slots on the 24th and the 25th, which I really wasn't expecting, because to me, I think a lot of teachers are going to work on the 24th. I mean, the 24th is like, that night is a big deal for us. And because it's a Monday night, it means it's going to be Tuesday morning there. It's just going to be another day. Okay, so the things that... Yes, Gary, they can see you as soon as you sign up. And be very careful, because whatever schedule you open up, like say you open up a free talk schedule and then you do your interview for the official kids course, if they approve you, you could book classes within a few hours. So you have to watch that. The things I wanted to talk about tonight, the very first thing is class times, if they're early or late. If you show up, I always go into class, I try and go in at least 3 minutes early. And if the student is already there, I cover my camera. Of course, I don't have the paper with me right now, but I've taken just a Post-it note and I fold it in half and slip it over my camera like this until the countdown. And let me tell you why. You do not want to start a trend that you are teaching early, because that timer starts at the start time of class. The timer starts at 0. So even if you start teaching it 2 minutes till, you still have to go to 25 after. And while that may seem like not a huge deal, what it does is it creates a trend in which those parents are going to expect you to always do that. And I know that sounds silly. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just a few minutes. But when you only get 5 minutes between classes, and if you have a tech issue on your previous class, you have to make sure you hit the 25-minute mark. You want to stay on that schedule. Do not start teaching before that time starts. And you need to try to teach until after the 25-second or the 25-minute mark. You don't want to hit exit the classroom right on 25 minutes. You need to stay at least an extra 30 seconds to make sure it has registered and the piece up at the top says 25 minutes. Do not go by the clock on your computer or you will mess yourself up. Okay? So start when it says 00 and stop when it says 25 and give it a few seconds extra for good measure and then exit the classroom. I have seen teachers who end up and parents will stretch it because, I mean, think about this. They're paying a lot of money for this class. I would probably do the same thing. I'd be like, okay, let's stretch this class out just as long as I can. We're going to go from 25 minutes to almost 30 minutes. The other thing you don't want to do is stay past 27 minutes. I have talked to teachers before who were like, well, I just wanted to get it finished and the student was 10 minutes late, so I just went ahead and stayed on. Number one, you don't get paid for anything after 25 minutes. Okay? Number two, the parents know that they're supposed to be on time. And when they are late, they understand there are consequences for them. Okay, do not start that trend, because that's another one that if you do it once, then they're going to expect you every single time to make this a 30 or 40-minute lesson when they paid for a 25-minute lesson. While we are connected to these students, we need to remember one thing. This is not like us receiving a salary position for a U.S.-based teaching position in a brick-and-mortar school. We are paid by the 25 minutes, okay? When you're on a salary, you can take that extra time to do things that connect you with that student. But you've got 25 minutes. If you have time in that to do extra things for that student, that's great. But you should not be staying past the 28-minute mark just to chit-chat. Okay? And I saw a teacher yesterday who stayed until 32 minutes because her and the student were playing Barbie. Eve, they do require 7, I think is it 7 slots a week? It's 3.5 hours is what they want you to have open. Okay? So I want y'all to think about that. Make sure you're staying within those time limits. If you do it once, let's say the very first time you teach the student, you teach to 30 minutes, and then the parent, it becomes a regular student. Well, that's awesome. But then that parent expects you to stay till 30 minutes every time, and then they start leaving you bad ratings when you don't. Okay? Just be aware of these things. All right? Schedules. This week, I had 2 different people who were hired on. They were added to my mentor group. And before they interviewed, they opened up their schedule for free talk. They interviewed. They were approved overnight, which is, of course, when they are in the office. And what happens? They were booked classes for the very next morning, and they missed them. You have to understand, if you're applying for Palfish, you could be booked your very first class before the next day. You have to either close that schedule or pay attention to your bookings. Plan on getting up and waking up. Okay? There's no certainty, but most teachers that I have seen had their first bookings within 24 to 48 hours. Gretchen, I think you've been here for a little while. How long was it until your first class? Yes, you do. You really have to triple, double check everything. I am anal retentive about checking my schedule. I check it when I get ready to go to bed, and then I'll show you in a few minutes what I do for my schedule as far as like maximizing the bookings that I can get overnight whenever I have open slots. It's pretty fast. Mine was, I actually had just happened to wake up, and my next booking, they had approved my profile overnight, and my next booking was at 6:30 the next morning. I happened to be up because I had kids to get ready for school, so it wasn't a huge deal for me. But if you're not typically up, you need to pay attention. All right. So, I hope y'all can see that. 5. Ooh. Okay. So let's look at this. And I know this is backwards to you guys. I'm sorry. 4, 4:35, 5:36, 6:37, 7:30. Now, I actually open my schedule from midnight to 7 a.m., 6 days a week. We're going to say that tomorrow I have a class scheduled at 6:30, and that's how you know you get a little box down here. And I have one at 7:30. If you go in before you go to bed and you close off these 5 slots, well, obviously they're not going to book, but you're missing out on potentials. What I do, let's say I look at my schedule and go, I think I want to sleep until 5 o'clock, or I want to start at 5. So I'll close this one and I'll close this one. I leave these open and set my alarm for right here. Well, for what time I need to get up for that. Why? Every single time I've done this, at least 2 of these classes book. Every time. They always book up for me. Okay. This week we also had a lesson from, I'm sorry, I did not mean to show y'all my laundry piled up living room. Travel Teach. Travel Teach is another mentor, and she said to be careful not to open too many slots, because one of the things that they look for, Eve, you do need peak time slots. 7 peak time slots a week. So if you go in and you open up everything from 11 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock the next morning with the hope of snagging a bunch of classes, and you do that for all 7 days and you only book 5 classes, the sales team looks at you have 100 time slots open and you've only booked 5. So what I recommend is turn off some of those that you really don't want to work, and they may see that you have 5 out of 20 booked. That's a pretty good ranking. You're getting a pretty good percentage of bookings, and that's how they like to see it. They like you to have a higher percentage of bookings, and they will typically book those more. Let's see. Free talk. I get a ton of questions every single day from people wanting to know about free talk. How much should I charge? It is totally and completely up to you, but I'm going to tell you my recommendation. I do not charge. Okay, when I started out at 1 yen per minute. Why? Because I was brand new. I was hoping to get some new customers, and my hope is that I could kind of build up like a clientele of people who wanted to talk to me, who were willing to pay a higher price. I have seen some teachers who set it super, super high so they don't get any bookings for it, and that's fine. But you can also set it when you open your schedule, you can select official kids course only so you don't get booked for free talk. I have a couple teachers in my group who just do not like doing free talk. I think it's fun. It's kind of awkward the first few times until you get used to just talking to a random person on the phone. But for the most part, it's been very professional. Now, one thing I want to mention while I'm talking about professionalism, please understand that your Palfish app is not a dating app. It's not a place to meet your next boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife. Now, why, Teacher Sam, would you say something like that? Because I have repeatedly been made aware of teachers or people who are signing up to do free talk who are not there to do free talk. They're there to talk to the teachers in very unsettling ways. If you encounter that, the very first thing that you need to do is notify your mentor or your administrator. Okay? They do not play with that at all. They will deal with it very quickly. Very quickly. It's taken care of. Let's see. Last thing I want to talk about is promoting. Okay, so you need to realize that once you have a good schedule of consistent students for Official Kids course, when you reach 80% booked, you will no longer get trials. Would that typically matter? No. Being booked to 80% is a very good ratio of booked to non-booked. However, if you want to continue that, you need to make sure you're promoting yourself. My recommendations for promoting are the same thing that the rest of them say, okay? You need to post moments multiple times a day. However, let me say this. I have not found it very beneficial to post moments during the American daytime. Why? Because all of the students and their parents are asleep. So I don't waste those moments on that during that time. I also don't schedule live classes during the daytime because there's no one in China awake to watch them. Okay? To me, this is just like a common sense thing. Yes, they can go back and watch it later, but that really kind of takes some of it out. The fun out of it to get questions. Okay, for free talk, do you just click start tutoring or do you open your schedule for it? You can do either. You can be booked on a regular schedule for a free talk lesson, or if you have some free time, you can hit start tutoring and you may get a call. There's two options when they call you, voice call or video call. You really have to make that decision. However, understand that when you make that decision, you must be in an appropriate position as far as where you're at and appropriate attire to represent the company in a professional manner, preferably in your classroom, preferably in a blue shirt. The blue shirt is your uniform. Don't forget that. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, not everyone looks good in blue. Yes, we totally and completely understand that you may not want to wear a blue shirt. You may not have a blue shirt, but the rules say wear a blue shirt. So I'm telling you, wear the blue shirt. Okay? It is not worth it to argue it out in Facebook groups. Just wear the blue shirt. We've been down this road, y'all. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to cover this week? Okay. If you're recruiting, which I know a lot of us do, I actually recruit quite often. You need to make sure. Oh, you're welcome, Eve. I haven't actually taught for 51 Talk, but the people that I have talked to said that Palfish is way better. So, just to think about that. I've lost my train of thought, y'all. It's been such a long day. Such a long day. You know, that is a great question. Let me look at it. I don't think there's a rubric per se. I think that it's just they get to pick one out of from 0 to 5, and they can pick 4.95. I know that they can pick very small amounts. I've been very fortunate, and I have found that like on VIP Kid, it was very, very hard to get parent ratings. But I found on Palfish, it's really not. I have like 42 ratings, I think, and that has taken like no time to get there. It's something that, which I have a 5.0 rating, which is the average is 4.95. So it kind of, you know, I know that I think that you can reach out to your administrator, Gretchen, too. Like if you've received a bad review, I think you can reach out to them and they can tell you what class it was on. That's probably my biggest struggle that I have is when I pull it up, which I'll show you guys here. Oh, let's see. Of course, y'all aren't going to be able to see it because, that's too complicated. This is all in Chinese. And so I've struggled to be able to understand and read my comments. But I use anyone who doesn't know, you can use the Google Translate app. And it actually will pop up and tell you, you can highlight the words you want to translate from Chinese to English. And it will tell you what it says, like from a screenshot. Super, super nice. I will say, and maybe this doesn't affect anyone else, I really wish that I could be logged into 2 devices at one time. Like if I'm sitting in a no-show on my tablet, I'd like to be able to log in from my cell phone and like read comments or talk in the chat groups. I'm really not sure, Gretchen, but you know what I will do? Let me, I have some of the admins on WeChat. I'll send them a message and see what they say. I'll see what I can find out. My Palfish name is teacher. Let me write it up here. Let's see. If you will go through and send me a message on Palfish, once I hear back from them, I'll let you know what they say. It may be Monday because it's the weekend over there. Oh, that's right. You can do it in Palfish student. But would that show up as my teacher account? Like, that's what I want to be able to do. Because I have like a recruiting group and I have my mentor group. So I want to make sure that I can go in and do those. Sometimes there's so many comments I can't get to them in a day. So is everyone ready for Christmas? How many of you guys are working Christmas? I hope you are too, Gary, because you would bump me up to like number 32 on the recruiting if you get approved. Oh, you're welcome, Gretchen. I plan on working Christmas morning because my kids are teenagers and they won't wake up until lunch anyway unless we forcefully go in there and wake them up. So I plan on working a normal schedule that morning. I will be taking New Year's off, which tells me I need to go in and change my schedule now. I'm going to take New Year's off. Yeah, I think I'll probably... That's what I put as my recommendation to the admins is to allow us to go in there and be signed into two locations. I am too. I want those double points that day. That'll help me level up again. Level up, level up. Isn't that a song? My husband's in the room and he's laughing at me. I'm hoping to level up one more I need about 250 more points, and I'll be happy for the month. We'll see. Okay, guys, it looks like everyone's signing off. I'm going to go take a nap. I start my nighttime classes from midnight to 7 a.m. So I'm going to go get ready for bed. I hope that you all have a fantastic, wonderful night. If you have questions, problems, concerns, you can always reach me here on YouTube, or you can reach me on my username for Palfish, which I put up there. Feel free to send me a message. All right, guys, I thank you so much again for coming, and hope to see you guys real soon. Good night.